Hello and welcome. I'm Midweek Gregan, and I'm back for more Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Today we're getting into Season 2, Episode 3. Finally, again, I appreciate your patience as I deal with a lot behind the scenes, but we are getting into it, we are continuing, and we are getting into, I guess, the end of the first third of the season, because it's only a 10-episode core. Hopefully Season 3 will come before too long, but in the meantime, yeah, we're making our way through Season 2, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we have this time because last time we had just like season one, just like episode one. It was a great episode, especially the first half with the when we got really introduced to the hero of the South, and we met this unusual character. High bar, I know, considering the main hero we know is Himmel, but the hero of the South is not only quirky in his own right, but his power, uh, his gift is apparently some sort of omniscience or future sight, and all the shenanigans that entails. Thankfully, he's not alive anymore, as horrible as that is to say, because time wonkiness, time shenanigans, time BS, as Darwin Award winner says, is very. It's very easy to get tangled up in it in your stories, as I'm sure you're more than aware of. So we'll see if we run into any more of that in the future, but as long as it's stuck in the past, then that's probably for the story's best. Regardless, there are a lot of interesting implications of it, and I do look forward to, and I hope that we'll see more of him and more of how his power worked, more of what he did with it, and how it shaped his journey, his experiences. But more on that in a second, because we're going to get into the comment of the day, where I'm going to talk about the hero a lot more. Before that, though, we should also talk about the second half of the episode, where we encountered another graph, one whose grandfather, uh, the hero's party, Himmel's party, Frieren's party is more than familiar with, who had certain eccentricities and, just like his grandson, apparently did not have a very good grasp on his belongings, particularly the heirloom sword that they had. The grandson, just like his grandfather that Frieren knew, also lost it. And interestingly enough, Frieren seemed to be a little judgy, I guess. She was quick to not want any part in what this graph has to say simply because of his grandfather and the way that he acted, which is, I guess it's not unusually close minded of Frieren. You see that with her treatment towards demons, justified or otherwise. But it is interesting because this guy hasn't really done anything to earn Frieren's ire. I don't even think they've met, and yet she is very dismissive of him and wants nothing to do with him or his entire domain, I suppose, trying to pass through it as quickly as possible. However, we do end up helping because Frieren's just a helping person, because Himmel is a helping person, right? It's what the hero Himmel would have done. And in doing so, we fight a sword demon who is tricking people into praying and then preying on them, ironically. But we defeat them pretty quickly, and we got a nice reintroduction into demons, I suppose. Which I guess, considering the manga, isn't really uh, by design because the manga chapter is just coming out. But from the perspective of season two, it's nice to see the second episode kind of reintroduce this concept of demons and reintroduce and actually get to see and fight demons, since we haven't really done that since Aura, I might say, at least like properly, or like had a proper story, even if it's just a vignette about it. So I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we present in today's vignettes, because it sounds like the whole season will kind of be just composed of these like in between areas between these longer arcs. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But of course, before that, we got to get into the comment of the day. This comment of the day is going to be a little bit shorter than a lot of the other ones. It's just going to be the one comment here, and I'm trying to get through this a little bit quickly simply because I have other places to go and my Ritalин's about to run out. So, and also I'm not completely all there mentally right now. You may see me struggle to find the words I want to say. Perfect case in point there. So apologies in advance for that. But of course, we've got to do this in the proper order. So here's the comment of the day, and it's by Wow Horak. And like I said, it's about the hero of the South, particularly him correcting me in my poor verbiage and poor describing of the hero of the South as a better hero, as opposed to a stronger hero, which is a lot more safe to say that he was. I did say during the analysis of last time that the hero of the South was more capable than Himmel. So I think I mostly meant to say that he was a stronger hero, not necessarily a better hero. But the way that Horak outlines it here is just great, and I think it's worth sharing. So, for one thing, there's how the hero of the South and his omniscience, his future sight, whatever you want to call it, affects his not just his position and his job as a hero, but also just his personality and how he goes about being a hero. So, if you can see the future, that's going to change what actions you're going to take, right? Ironically, especially since it seems to be a more determinist standpoint that Frieren is taking with this not quite time travel, but pseudo time travel of future sight. It seems very deterministic. It seems ironic that having this power would change how you act, but it does, right? Because the hero of the South now, if he sees that he's going to talk to Frieren and invite her to join his party, now he has that in mind, so any action he does has been affected by him having future sight. A lot of this is further complicated because we just don't have a lot of information about his power. We don't know if the hero of the South, like, if he can actually like see flashbacks of what's going to happen, if he just gets words whispered into his ears, or if he can like go into the future and like walk through them as if they're recreations of a past that has yet to happen. We don't quite know. And we also don't know if whether he's tried to go against what he's seen, how far he can see, whether he can see things that he doesn't really experience himself. It seems like he can because he knows that Himmel will go out and recruit Frieren, but we don't know where these boundaries are. So it's hard to pontificate too much here, and most of it would just be vague theory crafting, and I'm not particularly interested in that. What we do know here, and as Horak highlights in this first paragraph, is that he chose to be a hero despite effectively knowing that he wouldn't be the hero who defeated the Demon King, right? He actively chose to sacrifice himself and to clear the path for Himmel, potentially before he even knew he would be ending his own life, giving his own life to defeat the Overseer demon or whatever it was called. He not only chose to sacrifice himself, but he chose to keep being a hero despite knowing he wouldn't get the accolades for it, knowing he wouldn't accomplish his ultimate goal, which speaks volumes about him as a character. And we also know that he does so with a smile, right? He doesn't do it reluctantly, or if he does, he certainly doesn't let it show. So there's a lot we can glean from his character. What we can't really glean, though, is what he did outside of his grand exploits. And Horak presents this as evidence, or at least as support for why Himmel is maybe not necessarily a better hero than the hero of the South, but it's definitely not the other way around. It would take a lot for the hero of the South to be a better hero than Himmel. And that in lies Himmel's greatest strength, which is not his bond with his team, not his determination, certainly not his innate talent, but his morals, right? His moral compass, his desire to go out and help people, his desire to go out of the way of his main journey and to save the Werebells of the world, right? To do these little side quests that take up extra time, that keep the Demon King in rule a little bit longer. And yet, those little side exploits that nobody outside of a 50-meter radius will remember, maybe like 550 is a little small, nobody outside that little village, that little area will remember. Those are the ones that change people's lives the most, right? At least on an individual level, like Werebell's level. We don't know if the hero of the South had as many of these side trips. I think it's safe to assume he didn't. I would imagine, just putting myself in his place, if I could see the future and if I was this great hero, I probably wouldn't spend a whole lot of time helping people. I would try to do what I can to make the most of my future sight and change the world in larger ways. I don't know if that's true for him, so it wouldn't be fair of me to move forward assuming he did that. However, from with the lack of information, I'm going to I guess I'm going to move forward with that soft implication in comparison to Himmel. Because Himmel, we know very well, right? We know that one of his main guiding principles was that he can't not help people. So, who's the better hero? I won't say it's Himmel, but I certainly won't say it's the hero of the South either. Because Himmel simply did too many forgettable deeds, too many non-world changing actions saved too many insignificant lives for pretty much anyone to take the mantle of better hero from Himmel. He simply did too much of too little. And that's what we love him for, right? That's what Weirbel used as his own guiding light as he joined the military and saved so many people, creating that cascading effect. That's what caused Frieren to now in her own journey to go out and help people, right? To go out of her way. Again, those ripples. So yeah, I think Himmel may be the better hero. It's hard to say without knowing more about the Hero of the South. But I think I can say with confidence that the Hero of the South was, albeit stronger, not a better hero than Himmel. That's a really, really high bar. And that's going to do it for the prep and for the comment of the day. Like I said, quite a bit shorter than the normal ones. But if you want to be part of the next one and ensure the next one is much, much longer, go ahead, leave your own comment. I would love to read it. I read every single one. And if it's something I particularly want to comment on, I feel like I need to, then I'm going to put in the comment of the day. Pretty simple. So I do hope to see you down there. Like I said, I read every single one. So regardless, I want to see you participate in this, and I want to build out this conversation together and really build out the value of watching the show. So I hope to see you down there. But having said that, let's just get into the episode. One last thing before I get started. The reactions are going to be full even on YouTube, but if you want the unaltered and for audio and visual, because I, copyright, go ahead and check out Patreon for $2 a month to get access to all of my stuff and all the unaltered reactions. So I do hope to see you there. There's also a Discord in there, but that's completely free. You don't have to donate any money to me. There's just a link over there as a extra step to avoid like bots and spam and all that craziness. So I hope to see you in Discord. I really hope to see you in Patreon. But I'm going to put that shilling stuff aside, and we are going to hop into Frieren Season 2, Episode 3. It's been a minute since we've been here. Always great to be greeted by this opening. It's so beautiful. Even though I haven't like reacted to the show nearly as much as I want to, and as much as I should have been, really, I have been watching this opening, and I've been especially listening to the song quite a bit, and yeah, it just keeps growing on me. I just keep loving it more and more. Still not Haru level musically, because again, Haru's one of my favorites, but I really do think visually this opening blows away the others, which is not saying anything about the others. It's really just in praise of this one. It's just so beautiful. Do we get to the present through there? God, the color gradients, the pastels, it's just perfect. The fact that we have this like triumphant, this beautiful opening that's so symphonic and a season 2 of a show, really only something you can do in Frieren, right? Perfect. Somewhere she'd like. 29 years still in the Etwas Mountains. Ooh. I like that sunlight, those lens flares. Okay. Whoa, that animation was really clean. Oh, we're here. Yeah, we're going to the springs, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, cute little hand motion. The character acting in this show is always so on point. Something on Stark's mind.
God.
He's the kid in the back who's, are we there yet? Ooh, I don't like the fact you're saying that while there's ruins around, but those look much older to be like the village they're looking for. Well, at least we got laughing kids. That's a good sign. Smiling elders too. Oh, really? Oh, that's disappointing.
残念ですね。フリーレン様。
No. Oh, she's got that
人間の村
face.
は油断するとすぐになくなっちゃうんだから。こりゃ
Can't take your eyes off him.
次の温泉は我慢だね。
次の町までどのくらいなんだ？
God.
一週間
Stark is so great with kids. It's always such a pleasure to see.
ですか。
Yeah. At least you're not having to
近くに温泉はないのかよ。
march through some snow for this area. You get to enjoy some warm weather.
祖父に聞いた話なのですが、裏手の山には秘湯があると言っていました。
Maybe a secret wish granting hot
これ
spring?
また30年以上も前の話ですが。
エトバスさんの人だね。
Ooh, she
ご
knows
存
of
知な
it.
のですか？それこそ残っているかどうか。相当な山奥だからね。素直に次の町を目指した方が早く温泉にありつけると思うよ。
So presumably she's actually been there
どう
before.
したんですか？シュタルク様。
エトバスさんの人、どこかで聞いたことがあるよう
From my son, I assume.
な。あ、思い出した。フリーレン。
あ
俺行ってみたいかな。エトバスさんの人。
Some spike of interest.
でもね、シュタルク。あそこは人って言っても労力に見合わないと思うよ。だって。
せっかくここまで来たんだから、行ってみようぜ。
Well, if he wants to, might as well, right?
まあいいか。
Yeah.
シュタルクが行きたいって言うのなら行こうか。
Stark guy ikitai nara. If you want to go, we can go.
またなー。
They're all about detours anyways, right? Usually helping other people, but nothing wrong with helping one of our own party members. What? Is he like telling a story? Is that like a kaboom? It's such an interesting hand motion. No! Really should add Stark do that job. I'd have Frieren trying to pull her up. Oh, the sleeping positions of Frieren never change. An inscription? Okay.
フリーレン様。
Frieren getting a little peek at her master's expression.
もうね、姫
Very cute.
人を目指してエトバスさんをさまよったからね。
Why am I not surprised?
もう帰りたい。
俺も。
Neither of them were interested in it.
そんなところにまで行っていたんですね。
I guess those are the two nonsense people of the party.
珍しい場所とかは隅々まで探索しないと気が済まない
As we know, he's a completionist. Through and through.
ちょっとだけだって言ったじゃないですか。
絶対何かあるんだって。
Even Hyder was against it at that point. It's just him, oh my god.
もう引き返せんぞ。
Hey, if the hero says it.
道のりは難易度が高かった。厄介な魔物の縄張りを抜けないとたどり着けない。
Just a monstrous hike. Ooh.
早速お出ましか。
Alright, let's see the monster. Oh, it's a dragon. It's a Hydra?
竜か。久しぶりだな。
あれは竜どちら
Yikes.
かというとトカゲなんかに近いタイプの魔物だよ。
Okay, semantics. How do we kill it? And for the love of everything, don't tell me cutting off one head grows two
縄
more.
張りに入られた魔物は大概そうなるよ。あの三つ首は同時に切り落とさないとすぐに再生する。
マジかよ。
They must have legends of, oh my god, like pounding towards them. Oh. Yikes. All right, let's do this thing.
いい作戦があるんだ。
Isaksen. Okay. The heads don't seem super long though, so it should be pretty easy. It won't be able to like attack all three of them very easily.
全ての首を同時に狙うよ。はい。なるべく少ない回数で成功させる。
Yeah, because it can't pursue both of
タイミ
you.
ングが悪いと延々と再生されるからね。先ほどおっしゃっていたいい作戦って、魔物がシュタルクを襲っている
Yeah,
隙
he's
に
bait.
攻撃するんだよ。
Poor Stark. Is she against it? I mean, hey, it's finally a plan Stark can fully get behind. Embrace the interfere and run for your life. But given your party members, like,
よく頑張った。
was there any concern that they'd be able to pull it off? Presumably it's guarding the springs? Or spring, I guess? Just vibe into the music of Frieren. Not a big deal. Oh, that string is... Yeah, that was a
ようやくついた。
pretty steep hike there at the end.
ね。次の道を目指した方がマシだったでしょ。
Hope it was worth it.
あれが
Really
イトバ
curious
ス
to
さんの
hear
主
his
張だよ。
reason, though. And it hasn't dried up. Interesting.
浅いな。
これじゃあ足湯ですね。だから割に合わないって言ったんだよ。
でもいいんじゃねえか。
My feet are killing me after all that
これならみん
walking.
な一緒に入れる。
Oh, we're not gonna need to split up.
そうだね。
I mean, unless you want to expose your feet to each other, you lewd creatures.
いい景色ですね。
Love how quiet it is.
ああ、
ところでシュタルク様は
So
どうしてそこ
peaceful.
に来たいと言ったのですか？
師匠から聞いていたんだよ。
Of course.
エトバスさんの人はまさかの足
Muscly man.
湯だった。
I mean,
と
obviously,
ても
but
労力と割に合わん。
like it's the first time we're actually seeing his
実にくだらない冒
biceps.
険だ。
Kudaranai again, huh?
不思議なものでな。
But you enjoyed yourself.
仲間と共にしたくだらない冒険はどれもかけがえのない記憶として
Something, something about the journey, not the destination, right?
俺はあの景色が忘れられん。
Beautiful. Blue of the mountains. The evening
シュタルク様は
sun.
ご存知だったん
The
ですね。
evening sun, evening sky.
きっと師匠と同じ景色が見たかったんだ。
Yeah. Then when I see him again, I can tell him. You're right. It totally wasn't worth it, Master.
確かにいい景色だ。
And I don't regret it either. Lovely. And now we've got to make our way down this steep path. Oh, careful. Oh, come on. Use your levitating spin. Oh, jeez. That's not going to be the only time that happens,
過
huh?
酷ですね。
Frieren just got crushed by the briefcase.
やっぱり労力と割に合わないか。
Spoke too soon. Fortress City of... Hey. Okay. Oh, now we got some springs. Proper hot springs.
お嬢ちゃん、最後に温泉が好きなのね。
There's the Himmel statue.
リーレン様。この町に着いてからずっと
It's long
三人
overdue.
お二人ですね。
たまに出てきたと思えば魔法店だもんな。
Don't act surprised.
あと2日は滞在するそうですよ。
まあフリーレンにしては控えめかな。
厳しく言いましたからね。
うん
明日は丸一日暇になってしまいます。
そうだな。俺は武器屋にでも行くか。斧を研いでもらわないと。
だから私、明日暇なんですけど。
Come on. Pick up the hint.
構ってください。
Come on, pick it.
本当に気が利きませんね。
He's
シュタルク様は。
he's a little slow to pick up on it. Making a girl say something that direct. Come on. She wants to be invited out. Come on.
そんなに構ってほしいなら明日デートしようぜ。
He's leaning into it.
Ah, これやばいパターンだ。
Dropping the book with a completely blank face. I'm kind of scared right now.
わかりました。
Oh,
では明日。
okay. Should I be armed? Walking so slowly. Is she like trying to keep her cool?
本
I would not pursue her right now. She can pick it up tomorrow.
何この反応。
Yeah, that's very suspicious. Oh my god, that hair. Oh my god, that face. The ears angled down because the towel. Is this the same day? Or is this the day of their date? This is the same day. He's trying to get the book.
フリーレン。
She looks awesome. Ooh,
どうも。
that was a fun cut.
やっぱ怒ってんのかな。
There's no possible way to know other than to find
シュタル
out.
ク、誰に相談しているのか分かっているの？
Asking Frieren to understand humans.
だよな。無理な相談してごめん。
何も無理とは言っていないよ。私はお姉さんだからね。
姉さんだからね. A human girl? Or how an elf girl
フリーレン
thinks.
俺にデートしようって言われた。
Way too young for me.
シュタルクも大人になったね。嬉しいからご飯おごっちゃうかも。
やっぱり参考にならねえよ。
Putting on her best Onesan act.
遊びに行く
Yeah.
おばあちゃんの感覚だもん。
おばあちゃんって言ったな。クソババアに続いて2度目だ。3度目はないからね。
何そのカウント怖い。ちなみに3度目はどうなるんですか？
Again, you don't want to know.
感触を起こした私は怖いよ。勇者ヒメルでさえ恐れおののいた。
Really? Oh my god, pulling on her hair. Stoking.
三日三晩ずっと泣いてる。
That was incredible.
めっちゃ怖い。それがお姉さんの所業なのかよ。
Just soaking through the pillow.
ま、シュタルクにデリカシーがないことは分かったかな。
That was incredible.
それでフェルンとデートするの？
I think my cheeks are just like stapled like this now.
やっぱなしって言える雰囲気じゃないからね。
Don't you dare.
フェルンが好きそうな場所とか聞きたくて。
Oh, that's good advice to ask for.
いや、なんでもない。聞いた俺が
下。見に行こうか。
Yeah.
多分わかるかも。
Scope out some good spots.
まずは市場で何か食べさせた方がいい。お腹がすくと機嫌
Don't want to be on an empty stomach, yeah.
屋台は外せないね。フェルンは小さい頃からつまみ食いが好きなんだ。
Magic burns a lot of energy, I
そういう
presume.
綺麗なものが置いてあるお店なんかも喜ぶと思うよ。フェルンは焼き菓子が好きだけど、気分によって変わることもあるから、 スイーツのお店はいくつか押さえておいた方
I
が
love how much she knows about Fern by now. She's been paying such close attention to her. As she should, but it
あった
says a lot about her. Not only that she knows so many things, but like in such detail, right?
こういう物静かな広場も
Definitely have to end the
選
date
択
here.
肢の一つだね。
なんだよ、フェルンのことよく知ってんじゃねえか。すごいな、フリーレン。
いや、何も知らないよ。
Hmm.
私はすごくない。
Downplaying
す
your
ごい
own
のはハイターなん
achievements
だ。
because there was someone you know who was better.
ことあるごとにハイターはフェルンの好みを話していたからね。
I'm just repeating what he
お
told
腹が
me.
すくと不機嫌になるのも、
Hmm.
つまみ食いが好きなのも、綺麗なものが好
And
きなの
yet
も、
you've added so much more onto
気
it,
分によ
right?
って好みが変わるのも、どれも全部
You've
ハイタ
added
ー
so
が
much
教え
that
てくれ
you
た。
clearly experienced for yourself.
ハイターは私にフェルンの親代わりになることを望んでいたみたいだけれども、私は結局あの子の好きなものをほとんど見つけられなかった。
Not at all. But of course, she has it in her narrative that she doesn't understand humans, right? So she doesn't realize
こうして
how
ち
much
ゃ
she
んと覚えて
knows.
いるじゃねえか。
And also, yeah, the effort she took to
フリーレンは多分
remember what
ちゃん
Hyder
と
told
親を入
her.
れてるよ。
But it's so like her to downplay her own achievements, her own
初めてフェルンの誕生日を祝
abilities.
ったのもこんなところだったっけ。
Hmm.
たまにはシュタルクもいいことを言うね。
Even you can say nice things. And he's proud of it. That's
カウント
awesome.
を1回分戻してあげよう。
Yes!
ありがとう。
We've got some wiggle room now. It's always important. Don't tell me Fern's gonna go and ask her for advice now, too. The glance. Oh, double glance. We're going for a third? No.
フリーレン様、
Mm-hmm.
デートに誘われてしまいました。
Does she
どう
just
すれば。
not know how to process it?
こっちもか。
Yeah, of course.
いや、なんでもないよ。フリーレン様はデートをしたことはありますか？
Probably, yeah.
ですよね。あるんですか？
You'll never guess with who.
デートって誰と何をされたのですか？
Someone you know.
彼女と
Absolutely
一緒に
ridiculous
探
stuff.
しに出かけて
How did I know?
魔道具店の店主に頼まれてね。それって依頼をこな
Let
し
me
たこと
guess.
ですよね。
Himmel said, it's just like a
それ
date.
は
So it became a
デー
date.
トと呼べるのでしょうか？あのね、フェルン。
Smirk.
気心の知れた異性と二人きりで出かけたら、それは
That's a
デート
date.
になるんだよ。
Okay, it's just our own perspectives.
って
Nice.
先生が言ってた。
Okay, this is.
そういえば
It's all her doing. Got
デー
it.
トしたな。
Oh my god. Yeah, not the person I wanted to ask for advice, anyways.
おやすみなさい。
Damn it, Flame. Well, nothing left to do but experience for yourself, right? And of course, Frieren's on the ground. Why am I even surprised? So, are we gonna get a scene alone with Fern, or are we gonna get a bit of pre-dating? Fern alone. What's on your mind, little girl? Little girl, she's like 16. I wonder if she's asking herself that question. Oh, is that a... That's for next episode? Oh, the cliffhanger. I wasn't told we would get cliffhangers in this season. I thought we were getting nice contained little vignettes. And I guess we are, but... They knew what they were doing at this one. They knew how much they were building it up and how much we wanted to see it. Oh, that's so mean. So mean. Nothing like little Mile to soothe my fragile heart. On the bright side, now Vinland Saga and Frieren both have cliffhangers to drag me back, so I can't possibly take another 2-3 weeks to upload again, right? You gotta see how these pan out. That's how they get you, I guess. How each of these backgrounds morph into each other. The fact that this is actually like hand drawn is it's beautiful. I also really like how she like looks around and sees the environment around her and sees all these different like the animals, the plants, the village, and then she creates her own spell, right? Like she's getting inspired by the world around her.
一級魔法使いゼルンほど
Ooh.
強力な魔法がいると
どこに
知らずかと思いました。
Are we gonna see some date clothes from
他の
Fern?
誰かの故郷も守りたいんだ。
All right, and just like that, we're done with season 2, episode 3, where we got, I suppose, a vignette and a half, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's something we've seen before. And, it's so mean of them. It's so mean to make us wait for the date, because of course they are. I wonder if that means that there's more that's going to be happening in it, and it's going to be like an actual like episode and a bit, like a mini arc that's like a little longer than an episode, or I guess it would be kind of like what they did with Stark, right? Where we introduced him at the end of an episode, or in the latter half of an episode, and then the next half of the episode was finishing up that conflict. So maybe we'll get that again. And I'm talking over this because it speaks for itself. It's just super pretty. The start of this episode was really nice. Oh, no, it just blinds us as it's blinding Stark. And I don't know what it is about this. It's just really clean. It's on twos like most of the show, like most of anime. But something about it, maybe it's the art style. I'm not sure. I guess the background is moving on ones, so it's a little different like that. Oh, that's cute. They're all moving on different frames. That's really adorable. It creates a little like bouncing effect of all three of them. That's super cute. He moves, she moves, and then she. Stark moves, Frieren moves, and then Fern moves. And when you play it, they're all just boing 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 boing. Boing 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 boing. Boing 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 boing. It's the little things. You gotta appreciate the little things. Like Fern's little, yeah, we get to see some hot springs finally, hopefully. It's always so great seeing Fern excited. As for someone as reserved and as difficult to read as her. Oh my god, and Stark being so great with kids. God, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so happy not only to like see this, but to really like to keep seeing it, right? It's not just a little thing that we threw in there because why not? It's a thing that whenever there are kids around, pretty much, Stark is with them and they're having a great time and they're playing around while the grown-ups talk. And it just makes me so happy to see, because it's these little things that really don't matter, that if you took out of the story, nothing would change. But nothing would change except for how much we appreciate Stark. And that's not to say like we wouldn't appreciate him as much, but we wouldn't appreciate him as much, right? We wouldn't like him less, or we wouldn't dislike him more, but we would like him less, even if we wouldn't realize it. It just endears him, right? And it makes sense because he's a bit of a kid himself, and because he doesn't really worry about all the complicated stuff. I mean, he's a frontliner, right? He's Vanguard, not a spellcaster, so it makes sense that rather than gather information, he's out there playing with the kids. I would be doing the same probably, especially if there was like a dog, I'd be playing with that one. But it just speaks so much about him, right? And it speaks also to the writers that they include little things like this. I assume things like this are in the manga, and were probably just built out even more in the anime. I assume this exact shot's probably not in the manga, but there's probably a panel with him running around with kids in the background. And regardless if there is or isn't, it's here, right? The anime is what we're watching. So they put this attention into it, and again, it's not the focus of anything, except for the shot is literally the focus of it, but it just speaks to the people who care enough to put these non-necessary yet not filler things in. These things that build out the characters and build out our experience without being necessary. And I just really like that. It's just, it makes me smile. So they mentioned secret springs, and it rings a bell in Stark's ears, and as I expected, it's because I still don't get quite what he was doing here. I mean, it was obviously like storytelling, but wow, it was so big. You remember that, right? Or maybe when I was with Aizen. But I mean, obviously he got the story from Aizen, right? Frieren's different stances. Obviously he learned it from Aizen, right? And we get to see that in a minute, so we'll get to that in a minute. But we get more completionists from Himmel, them going through the journey, and we get to see this monster, which is a bit of a hydra, standing atop its perch, as hydras tend to do. And it starts like bounding towards them like a freaking dog. Oh my god. Oof. I am glad that this thing wasn't too big of a deal, because hydras are scary. I'm glad we didn't have to. We didn't go too out of our way, I guess. Because, I mean, we've got Bird and Frieren on our side, right? They're gonna dispatch it. So we arrive at the secret spring, and it's just a footpath, which, as we learn, he is already aware of. But he's happy with it, because we don't have to get changed. I don't have to hide behind a rock. We can all just dip our toes in and be lewd together. Enjoy the view. And the fact that there's no OST playing here, we just get to just hear their voices and just the sound of the water. It just pulls you into it, right? It's great. I call back again to the nonsense adventure, but fun anyways. Something that I wouldn't replace for anything. Because as I said in the episode, I mean, one of those idioms that just everyone knows is it's about the journey, not the destination, right? It's not about where you go, it's about how you get there. It's not about what you'll find there, it's about the company you go with. Maybe the real blank was the blank we made, was the friends we made along the way. That's the big meme, right? And it's one I'd love overusing as much as the next guy. And I think it's because it's so overused, and it's because it's so ubiquitous in our culture, that we don't often like pause and actually appreciate it as much as we should, because I think too many of us do worry about the destination, even though we know that we should appreciate the journey. It's much easier said than done. And I think part of that is, ironically, because the destination isn't often as disappointing as it should be. God, that sounds weird. I don't know a non-weird way to say that, but more often than not, like, we know it's about the journey, not the destination, so we enjoy our time there. But when we arrive at the destination's pretty great, right? So we enjoy ourselves and we move past that. What's odd is what starts to happen when the destination doesn't live up to the hype, when it's not super fun and not worth the time. Because that's when the other side of the journey is what's important, not the destination, comes into play. We usually just listen to the first half and use it to enjoy the journey, but when the destination isn't all that crazy, then we really get to appreciate the full meaning of the idiom. That is not just about the journey. It's about the destination, not the journey. The idiom's not just about the journey. It's also talking about the destination, right? It's telling you that it's not just telling you to enjoy yourself on the way there and just not to blind yourself as you look for the destination. It's also telling you that no matter what the destination ends up being, you should accept it, and you would be better off accepting it. I think the reason why we most often listen to that idiom and hear it talking about the journey, not the destination itself, is because, like I said, the destination is rarely bad enough for us to apply the idiom towards the destination. When we get there, the destination is great. But when it's not great, when it's just a footbath and you're expecting a full sauna, that idiom allows you to remember that it's about the journey, not the destination. It's the destination should not hold this big space in your head. I guess another way to explain it is that we use that idiom to placate our impatience while we're on the journey, right? That's what I meant when I said we use the idiom to refer to the journey, but we rarely use it to refer to the destination. Because once you get to the destination, you don't have an impatience to placate, right? So we toss the idiom aside. It really takes a disappointing destination to call up that idiom again and remind ourselves that the destination was never all it was cracked up to be, and it doesn't need to, because it's about the journey, and the destination is part of the journey. So let's just appreciate the destination in the context of the journey. That's why Aizen won't forget the view, right? I mean, it's beautiful and he's with good company, but because it's the bookmark of this journey. Regardless of how good or bad or how much or how little it lived up to expectations, it's a part of this journey. So as I look back on the journey, I can also look back on this view, and even if this view was a fraction as gorgeous as it was, it would be just as unforgettable, right? And he'd be able to forget it just as little because he had this journey that wasn't super fun. Let's be honest. It was a pretty brutal hike, and they probably had to deal with that freaking Hydra and skirt around it or something. And they did it together as a team. The journey wasn't super great. The destination wasn't super great. And yet it's all an unforgettable experience in the snapshot of this view. Because our brains are all about association, right? And now Stark, having gone through this experience himself and having gone through what his master did, gone through those footsteps, right, gets to reaffirm it. Because he went here with his own team. He had his own journey. Unlike Aizen, he doesn't have to deal with the shock of this being disappointing. He knew exactly what he was getting into it. Or at least he'd heard. But just like Aizen, he got to experience the journey and appreciate this bookmark, this snapshot of this experience that definitely wasn't worth it. And yet, he wouldn't replace it for the world, right? So we get some more of these two interacting, and Stark is as blind as ever, forces Fern to say some things that you should never make a woman say directly. If you make a woman say to your face, "I'll have nothing to do tomorrow. Pay attention to me. You're so inconsiderate." Like, there's a difference between a woman dropping hints and a woman grabbing a hint, putting it on a stick, and smacking you over the head with it. The moment a woman says, "Pay attention to me," you've messed up bad. And I'm not surprised. It's very like Stark to just completely miss what she's trying to say. And I guess we can give him a little bit of credit because he does eventually catch on to a degree. And he decides to beat and raise. Let's go on a date. I love how we drop the book, because that's where his attention goes, right? Before we see her reaction, we see the book drop, and then we look up to, like, in anticipation of what her reaction is, and it's just completely unchanged. Because I'm sure she's just not processing it. But that in itself is terrifying, right? And she walks slowly out, no comment other than "see you tomorrow." It's so unsettling. Because as it turns out, Frieren's so adorable like that. As it turns out, she probably doesn't know what's going on either, right? She's not just difficult to read from the outside. I think she's just as difficult to read from the inside. More great character acting, more voice acting, and we get this absolutely masterful scene of Frieren pulling a blanket over herself and just drenching it in her tears. Oh my god, I just oh, the wiggly mouth. I it's so fun. First they're pulling on her hair. Oh, and then just they appear to the pier. She's like clinging onto them, and then we just get like a million free range. Why is she in the closet? Why is she in the closet? She's on top of the closet now and still throwing a fit, jumping off of it. Perfect. No notes. And then she falls and probably bangs her ankle and cries even more. Hanging on the edge of it. Looking out the window, like practically falling out the window. Lying on top of Aizen. My cheeks actually hurt from smiling so much. It's so good. It's such a funny scene. Regardless, Stark gets some more advice, and we get into something that I really, really like. Probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. They decide to go out and look for a good place that Fern would like. And Frieren starts talking quite a bit about what Stark should know about Fern moving forward. You should start by getting her something to eat. She gets cranky when she's hungry. Don't skip the food stalls. She's loved snacking since she was little. She probably likes shops with pretty items on display, as we've seen. She likes baked goods, but what she wants depends on her mood, so you should choose a few dessert shops. What else? And we should also have a nice quiet plaza here. You know a lot. She dismisses it. No, I don't. I'm not impressive. I just parroting what I've been told from Hyder, her true guardian, from her perspective. He talked about the preference all the time. I just repeated what he said. She gets cranky when she's hungry. She likes snacking. She likes pretty things. Her preferences changed all the mood. They all things that Hyder taught me. They're not things I figured out myself. I'm just repeating what I've heard. I couldn't figure out anything on my own. We'll get to that in a sec. But let's go back here and actually analyze what she was told. She gets cranky when she's hungry. She likes snacking. She likes pretty things. Her preferences change depending on the mood. Okay, now let's see what she actually said. You should start by getting her something to eat at the market. Hyder didn't say that. She gets cranky when she's angry. Angry. She gets cranky when she's hungry. Freudian slip there. Don't skip the food stalls. She's loved snacking. She likes pretty items, but she'll probably like shops with pretty items on display. She likes baked goods. What depends on her mood. So you should choose a few dessert shops. I don't know about you. Oh, and then there's also the plaza, right? I don't know about you, but there was quite a bit in there that Hyder didn't say. Now, sure, some of that was just basic extrapolation. You should go out and eat first because she gets hungry, she gets cranky when she's angry. Okay, Hyder told her she gets cranky when she's angry, so makes sense. That's not something you need to experience time with Fern to figure out. But what about the rest of it? She gets cranky when she's angry. Don't skip the food stalls. Because she's loved snacking. Okay, there's a specific. She probably likes shops with pretty items on display. Okay, she's again extrapolating that from her liking pretty items, but also from experience, right? Because she's seen a lot of Fern liking stuff with pretty items, shops with pretty items on display. Can't speak. She likes baked goods, but it depends on her mood, so choose a few dessert shops. And choose a few so she has her choice of litter, right? These are little details that, sure, you can say they're extrapolations and like they aren't necessarily parts from her own experience. But we know that's not true, right? Because we've seen pretty much all of those, if not all of those. So we know that she's not just thinking about what Hyder said and extrapolating from there for what makes sense. We've seen her do what she's talking about. We've seen her go through those experiences, so we know she's talking through experience. Sure, she didn't have these initial realizations. She didn't learn for herself that Frieren gets cranky when she's hungry. I don't know why I can't say that right. But we have seen her see it for herself. She may not have learned it and like picked it up from nothing. Sure, Hyder told her that before. But she's synthesized it with her own experiences to the point where she can give this detailed, specific advice to, can you tell my Ritalин's going away? To Stark. these bits of advice are theoretically something you could figure out just from what Hyder said. But the way she explains it, and from what we've seen, only Frieren could have given that exact advice, as somebody who's spent so much time with Fern and journeyed with her. But she says she's not impressive and writes off the compliment because she didn't come up with the initial ideas, because she thinks she's just parroting Hyder. And that's kind of sad, but it's also very in line with what we've seen from Frieren, right? We've seen her willing to let go of Stark because she dragged him out on this journey, even though he doesn't see it that way at all. We've seen her be insecure about him not wanting to stick around. And that was episode 1, right, of this season. So we are seeing this more and more, that Frieren is a bit insecure, and she doesn't really have a lot of confidence in herself. I'm sure if she were asked about the party and her role in defeating the Demon King, she'd say, I was just a mage. I was just there. Maybe she did say that in season 1. She's not a person who attributes much to herself. Now, she does when she's joking around, like, I've been on dates before, I'm this, you can ask me on a date and we'll play it out like this. She has that ability to, like, play the role, but when it really gets down to it, she's very quick to write off genuine compliments and deserved compliments. She sees her achievements as things that are built out from others, which they are, but she sees that a negative, which they aren't. Sure, you can think the person who invented the internet is less impressive than the person who discovered electricity. But I think we can all agree that the person who invented the internet is pretty damn impressive. Even if it's a derivative, even if it's not as impressive. But if Frieren were the person who invented the internet, she'd say, no, I'm just building off of that electricity. And admittedly, those are a little bit different, right, from this, because she's building off of knowledge, whereas that one is just, the internet requires a lot more innovation, right? Obviously, the metaphor falls apart a little bit there. It's just for the sake of example. You don't need to bring out these concepts and be the one to first think of them. In fact, you really shouldn't be. We're a species, humanity, and in the show, humanity encompasses elves, dwarves, all that stuff, of lineage, right? Of succession, of passing down our knowledge. So if Hyder passes down the knowledge that Fern's mood depends, or what Fern wants to eat depends on her mood, then there's nothing wrong with Frieren taking the credit of building out from that due to her experience with Fern and saying that you should choose a few different dessert shops because of what I learned from another person, right? It's building off that knowledge. And that is impressive, and that's worth noting. And the fact that she remembers not just what she experienced with Fern and built and connected it to what she heard from Hyder, but as Stark says right here, even just the fact that she remembers all those little details that Hyder told her is impressive already, right? You are a good parent, even if you can't accept it for whatever reason. And I think she can't accept it because she doesn't really respond, right? She just kind of diverts away the conversation. So I hope this is something that'll be building out more in the future. I hope this is something that we see more. Hopefully, in this journey to understand humans, Frieren will be able to come to appreciate herself a little bit more and the things she's capable of doing beyond just her abilities as a mage. Because there's a lot, right? So, sure enough, when we get these consultation bits, we get it from both of them. And Frieren reveals that she's been on a date, and we see one of the very few times that Fern is genuinely shocked. Almost insultingly so. And I immediately assumed that it was just, they were just going out doing shenanigans, and him was like, this is just like a date, and she just clocked it as a date. Of course, it's the other troublemaker in her past. It was Flamme, who told her that when men and women are going out together alone, that's a date. Which is a description that a lot of people use for dates, so you can't knock Frieren too much for it, but it's just kind of silly. It's silly. It's just silliness from Frieren, right? And we love her for it. Frieren says goodnight, but unable to get some sleep, she looks out into the moon. She looks out at the moon and the stars and thinks, what to do tomorrow? I guess we'll find out soon enough. I'll get to the next episode whenever I can, but if you want to get notified whenever that comes out, please do subscribe to get notified and to join me on my journey. If you liked it, I would really appreciate it if you liked it, and it really helps me out. And also commenting, like I said before, I read every single one. I would love to have you in this discourse with me. So yeah, go ahead and all that YouTuber stuff. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching. That's always most important. It really does mean the world to me, because I get to build this community out, and we all get to share in our appreciation for these shows together. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hopefully leaving your thoughts in the comments below, and until the next one, have a lovely rest of your day.